We are live. Yes, yes, yes. I'm getting me situated as always. Got to make sure I'm on there correctly. Yes, there we go. As always, gotta make sure I'm on there correctly. Did you hear me? It's the only way I know I've done it right. Eventually, I will get it together. So, how are you? How are we? I know it's been a couple of days. I did do one yesterday, though, with the weekly dividend amounts for um, the entities, the covered call ETFs. That those of you that have it, let me make sure I put this. I'm gonna get it together. I promise. 100%. I'm gonna have it together. Just gotta make sure, because I always have my phone on silent and I just put airplane mode on. I heard the airplane going over and it reminded me. Put it on airplane mode. So, how are we? How have we been in these times? These challenging and changing times for those that it is challenging and changing, for those that are staying aware, for those that have been affected, so on and so forth. Well, I can say that it's really important to keep yourself protected and aligned. Because even with the sharing that I've been doing, and I've done those last two videos that I did, that I showed the town hall of one and the woman that lunatic of, okay, that individual, don't want to be judging, whom doing his version of what he thought was funny. It really wasn't, but it was enough that you had to listen to say, this is really how people think and believe, and to think that something of that nature is funny, to talk about going hunting. Well, anyway, I can say that I ended up reading the book early that evening because it all caught up with me and I began to get emotional, and I had to do the reading early, because earlier than I intended to do, because I knew that I would sink more into that emotion, and I had to make sure that I was clear on what I was feeling, that it was me and not what collectively what I was feeling around me. So, which in turn, because instead of getting upset about my intentions getting thrown off by what is happening, instead it then you take everything negative and turn it into a positive. I now find I've thought of different ways to combat that. So I'm going to try different things with my reading the book in the evening. And some of it may be in the form of, I do record the video beforehand and then just air it later on a evening prime time. I'm also going to get creative of challenging myself, and I would challenge you as well, because in these times we need to bring as much light as we can for ourselves. And within that, for me, will be drawing and painting. I can draw and I can paint, and I have to be in the mood for it, but I'm going to challenge myself to bring out that inner child within me and do it on camera, do it on live, and encourage you to bring out those inner talents that you have, those things that you used to love to do as a child. I challenge you, I encourage you to find those things that you used to love to do that you don't do anymore. Maybe those things that you, as you were growing up, you were told, oh, you're too old for that, or children do that, or you need to be more mature than that. Whatever the case may be, whatever it was, your desire of what you like to do and the joy that it brought you, I encourage you to do that. Did you like to maybe play hopscotch? Did you jump rope? What was those childlike? Hello, Zachary. What was those childlike things that you liked to do? Thank you for coming. Welcome. I encourage everybody to find that within yourself, and in bringing joy in these moments, bring it to yourself. Did you like to hula hoop? Did you like to sing camp songs? Who used to sing camp songs? I know I did. I used to sing it more so to my firstborn. Um, what are we doing right now? We are talking about bringing out the inner joy that is within you to help you in these times. What is it that makes you happy? What are the things that you used to do? And as what made you happy? And I spoke about me drawing and painting. When I would draw and paint and I would finish something, I would always have a in like, okay, I've done this, it's good. Now what? What do I do with it? I could only have so many paintings or drawings that I did, yet brought me joy. Some people would say, well, you should sell your paintings. And, and it's like, I never really did this on the intentions of selling it to make money. I'm doing it for my joy, for my pleasure. And that's what I am going to bring about within myself, to remember, in the remembering of who we are, remember the things um that we are doing. Zachary wants me to give a shout out to his channel. What is your channel, Zachary? And I hope that you're coming on here to do more than just bring out shout outs, but for your own channel, but also for receiving the information that is being spoken about, because it's highly important in these times. Tell me your channel, Zachary. What is it that you do that we can get these important informations out about what it is that we are doing? I am reading books. I am reading the Children of the Law of One. I've already read it. I'm rereading it. Children of the Law of One and the Lost Teachings of Atlantis. And today I'll probably read another exercise right now on this one, a spiritual exercise for ourselves to help grow our own spiritual development. The Zachary's, I don't know what the name of your channel is, just random stuff. This morning, okay, do you remember when I read the pineal gland exercise, to where you imagine the white light where your pineal gland is, and you imagine it as a white ball of light, and then you, through your breath, you inhale, imagine the white light, and then in the exhale, you imagine that white light going all the way down to the center of the earth, all the way to the center. And then allow it a second or two to get to the center of the earth. Zachary 9319. Check out Zachary 9319. He does random stuff. And then once it's there for a second or two, slowly inhale it back up, that white ball of white light back up to your pineal gland, and then hold it there for a second. And when in the exhale, sharply exhale, imagine it going all the way back down to the earth, to the center of the earth. Allow it a minute or a second or two to get there. Sit there for just a second or two, and then breathe up that ball of white light back up. Do it 2 to 3 times. Really energizes you, wakes you up, stimulates your pineal gland. And these are spiritual exercises that we can do to help ourselves as well as collective, because remember, we are connected, we are as one. So when we do things, it does affect the collective. So we are focusing here on this channel in raising our vibration, higher vibration. You have a great day as well, Zachary. Thank you for coming. Thank you for chatting with us all. Okay. So other than that, what has all been going on? It's challenging to keep up with everything. I spoke about that woman that got in the town hall, how she got pulled out the way she did, and how it upset me the way it did, and I wanted to, if I was there, of course, I wasn't there, and everything happens for a reason, and we are where we are. Nothing is by accident. However, thank you for that volunteer. When I would thank you for that. If you can put it in a comment other than in the chat, that way I have your information, because those are there is other individuals that I would like to make a mod when my chat room gets busy and we need to swat away all the gnats, all the mosquitoes, all the little vampires. And I look forward to being at that level. I really, really do. So thank you for that volunteer. Now, about that woman in that situation. To me, I really, really saw it as the state of where we are right now. When that woman, when she was speaking, began to get attacked from her asking a question the way she did, and they pulled her out. All of that happened. Yes, the charges have been dropped. Yes, they charged her. Charges have been dropped, and a whole lot of other legal stuff has now occurred. She's suing. There's a GoFundMe, but that's not the part that I wanted to really get to. It was the fact that when she was being drug out, did you see how many people sat there and watched it happen? It's so similar as to what is happening now. There was murmuring that was happening within the crowds. Yes, people were, some people were, who are they? Who are you? That type of thing. Thank you for your subscription. I appreciate it, Zachary. If so many people were murmuring, and then there were some that were cheering. And if you look at what the state that is happening right now, we are watching people that are being affected, literally, like people, this woman was drug out by individuals. Who are these individuals? And the question was asked, who are they? Why are they doing this? But yet it reflected the country. Everybody really was just at a low murmur, a low cheer, a low questioning, but yet everybody watched it happen. That's really what's happening with our state of the world right now, within our country. I thought it to be the similarities and how that reflected. I also would like to speak upon, remember, tomorrow, today's the 27th, February 28th, remember, do not spend a dime. We are protesting. Do not spend a dime. People that are watching from around the world, and if you can message to your other folks that you know that is around the world, that purchase American goods, do not spend a dime on American goods. Hit them in their pocket. They are taking the money of the American people and putting it into their pockets. So let's send a message. Do not spend a dime on February 28th. People that are outside of the United States, do not purchase any United States products on February 28th. Do a 24-hour of no spending money. And then you may say, okay, that's not really going to do anything. How is that going to affect anything? But look at Target. Target was one of the first companies that decided to go along with the DEI program, the diversity, equity, and inclusion. And so they removed that program from within their company. And what happened? Black people right off the bat said, boycott Target. Now what has happened? Target has now come out and apologized. Why? Because their bottom line dollar, in a month's time, their bottom line dollar has been affected, and it shows. And they want people, come on back, please come back. We are reviewing our policies. We are reviewing the situation. They said review, not replace. Okay? So consider those type of things as to whether you want to continue, whether you want to spend money in any company that supports this nonsense. Because without the diversity, what is the world but not diverse? What is it? There is diversity everywhere, but we don't want to have it in America? Bull. And I'm trying to stay good, because you know how I can get when I get upset. I try to stay positive. I don't want to start all that cursing and carrying on. I don't want to. You see, I took down my little hat right here because I'm not going there today. Just today, just on this video at least. Spreading love and light, remembering who we are. Remember who you are and what it is that we all came here to do. And within that, let's bring unity and oneness. Okay? Let's be diverse. Now, within everything that is happening with our government, I mentioned before, I think I did anyway, that I've noticed within all of this rah-rah that's happening and all the complaining and so forth that is going on, they're calling for Elon to step down, not Trump. So therefore, because I listen to a lot of right wing, I try to stay totally informed. I truly do. I want to know what is being said all around me, not just within my circle, not just within my household. I want to know what is happening. So I listen to it all. I talk to others that have different political beliefs than I do. I work with people that are not on my same belief in many different ways. But within that communication and talking, you get to know one another and you get to hear what the other person's beliefs and opinions are and so forth. So I say all that to say that within this administration, we started off right off the bat with the immigration. That was a big rah, rah, rah. People voted, get them out of here for whatever their dark heart reasons are, or maybe their false beliefs or their gaslighting that has occurred. But regardless, you still had those beliefs in your heart and you wanted somebody away from you. You wanted these people that came for a better way of life, that has benefited this country, that pay their taxes in this country and help our food within the factories and everything like that, do the work that a lot of Americans do not want to do. And now the people, we're getting them out of there. Get them out of here. Okay, there's that big rah rah, and then there's the tears and so forth in that element. And then we see the firing within the government. Because remember now, we're hearing them call for Elon to step down. It's like, okay, who really sees and understands what is happening? Who's paying attention to what is really happening? And you can tell who is and who is not, and what level of the spectrum that they are on in the information that they are receiving. So now we have all of these government officials that are losing their jobs. Now, notice, it's just government. So besides immigration, okay, then that began to affect one form of community. Now we have the government with all the firing that is taking place and all the mind games, sending out emails to people saying, if you don't respond, then we'll consider this as a resignation. And then they backtracked it and say, oh, it was more of a pulse check at that ridiculous cabinet meeting that was held. A cabinet meeting that Diaper Don, and this is all for entertainment purposes only, that Diaper Don held with his cabinet members, but the first person to speak was Elon. Yeah. So, that right there is within itself saying something. He's trying to keep that rhetoric going, trying to, before anybody says anything, this is what we stand on. And then basically did a silent threat to everybody that was sitting around the table when the reporter asked, is everybody going to do what you ask them to do? And he's like, yes, they are all going to do exactly what I tell them to do. And so far we've seen it, because they all sat there silent. This is what they want. Now we have gone to pass the budget. Now it's going to begin to affect a different group of people. It's going to affect the lower income people, people on Medicaid, people on social services, people in public housing, people on food assistance. Uh, I listened to this one video. I really should find it again and then share it with my new technical skills. um, that she read it, and it was a gentleman who went to a research conference with the NIH, the National Institute of Health, and they were to be talking about the next group of research that they were going to do with cancer, with the hearing, and different levels of research that scientists do. These were scientists, research scientists, and they get there and learn that their funding had been cut because it included diversity. The word diversity was in there, so their funding got pulled. Now, the diversity that was there was with for deaf people with hearing, and the cochlear implants. That's the round thing that you see. So a person that is deaf or has hearing challenges, that they sometimes are able to get a surgery with a cochlear implant, and so that they're able to hear. Because there's different levels of hearing, and it's called the diversities of the hearing. The word diversity was there, so it fell under DEI. So all of that funding got cut for the research department. I shared that with somebody else, and they were like, that's not true. That couldn't possibly be. So I say to what I said to that individual, and I say to you, if you think what I just said was a bunch of bull and malarkey, look it up yourself. See what fundings are being cut. See what research fundings that are being cut within the CDC. There was just a, what was it, a meeting that was supposed to be held with the scientists. You know how every year when they do the flu shot, and for those of you who don't know, the flu shot every year is up on the previous strains, and that's how they develop the flu shot for the current year. Reasons why I never really took the flu shot, because I felt like, well, if every year the flu strain changes, it just migrates, it continues to grow into a different strain. Why are you using a previous strain? Well, it's what scientists do. They use the strains of to try to quell the evolving of the current flu strain. So this was the meeting for that, to decide what it was they were going to do. And of course, that was canceled for the CDC. They are literally trying to even cut off our health information. We literally have a measles outbreak that is here within the United States, and had our first death from a measles from a child, and the child did not have their immunizations. Individual choices. This is the choice of the parent, and we are where we are. But within that, we still have all these other diseases and so forth that are growing within the country, viruses. A new COVID strain has been identified. What are we going to do next here? And I'm only, just sharing as far as when all of this affect, and why is it that there's been protest. Yes, people have been gathering. There's more protests. There's another protest on a certain date, March 25th, I believe it is. And it has something to do with the 25th Amendment, paragraph 3, something along that line. That's the reason why the date March 25th was chosen for this protest. So there will continue to be protests, but I want to speak even on as to Black people protesting, and what there's a lot of talk out there saying Black people are sitting this one out. I agree 100%, but on the flip side of it, I'm challenged between the love aspect. the compassionate aspect, the healer aspect, the higher aspect of who we are as light workers and what we are to do and making the change. I completely understand the Black people saying they're sitting this one out because we have fought for so long for change and for diversity, equity, and inclusion, for our civil rights, to be able to do the things that we do that helped everybody else, including women, people of the elderly age, people of handicap, physical. Without diversity, equity, and inclusion, the ADA wouldn't be able, the American Disability Act wouldn't be able to do the things that they're doing, because it included people to get wheelchair ramps, access, the parking spaces for the handicap. All of that is diversity, equity, and inclusion. And it's being stripped away. So with Black people saying, we sitting this one out. You all started this fire. You all voted for this. You put it out. I completely understand. If you don't think that protest will do any good, I already gave the Target example. Let's go back further to the Montgomery, Alabama, when they did the boycott with the busing, the public bus transportation. Rosa Parks, because she had to give up her seat, because at that time is when Black people had to, this was in my lifetime, this is in the 60s, these are the things that my mother and father, the protest and the elders of my family, the things that they fought for. So you had to sit in the back of the bus if you were Black. You couldn't sit in the front. So Rosa Parks, she had a long day at work, and she didn't. She wanted to sit down, and there was no seat, so she sat in the front of the bus, and of course, it caused a big hoorah and all this kind of stuff, which then turned into the boycott in Montgomery, Alabama, for the busing. It made a huge difference even then. We didn't even have our civil rights established at the way that it established now before they started stripping it away. But the point is, people stood together then, and it made a difference. And I would also like to say, people stood together more during the civil rights time. And then once civil rights got established and people became more comfortable in their rights and them being able to build their lives in the way that they wanted them to be, there then became in my opinion, a breakup, because at that time you were able to stand together stronger and larger for one movement, and it was for Black people to have freedom and their civil rights and be able to live life and live where they wanted to live, eat where they wanted to eat at. They didn't have to go. I remember my uncle taking me to show me when I first came out here to Georgia, and he was showing me around, and even the Fox Theater, and he was saying, yeah, there was a time when you see them stairs right there. He said, in order for us to go into that theater to be able to enjoy the show, we had to walk up those stairs and go through the back door, because we couldn't go in the front. He was showing me these different areas and the things that have changed, and the people stood together then. But then once we got that, it seemed that the standing together kind of broke up into many different departments in as far as, because in my lifetime, I mentioned before, my mother and father couldn't get married because it was interracial at the state that they were in. So they had to go to another state to get married. And he was in the military at that. And she couldn't even be on base housing with him in Camp Lejeune, North Carolina. So I know a little bit of what I'm talking about. I'm just saying. Anyway, when that large group were achieved what they wanted to achieve, and then it kind of went to the wayside, but then you had gay rights, but not everybody was in favor of gay rights. So there was that group of people. Gay marriage, not everybody was in favor of gay marriage. So you had that group of people standing up for what they wanted. You had the women's rights, people, all of these different groups, okay? But now We're going to watch people come together. We're going to watch them come together and be stronger. But this is just an example of how there's all these different groups. And the reason why Black people aren't out there the way that people want them to be. But because I can tell you this, the moment Black people get out there in large numbers, them protests will then be called riots. Then they'll become those bad actors like they were doing with the George Floyd protests when people were protesting then. And then you had bad actors, even police officers who were off duty, people who were, covered up, Black, not being able to, and setting fires and causing destruction, and then claiming it to be Black people. There's a reason why Black people are sitting this one out, because the moment they do come out there, watch that form of rhetoric begin to happen, because people are following the rhetoric so strongly. I know that's a big, I don't know what you want to call it, a racial rant. I don't know it, but it is what it is. If you question or didn't have that perspective, it is what it is, and that is where we are right now. So watch the rhetoric and everything begin to change. Watch the level of people then begin to wake up when these things begin to affect them. We had the budget passed, and so now it's going to affect the lower income people. Even though they said on the at that meeting he had that no, people aren't fully, they're not fired, but they're partially fired or something like that. What? And why is this man advertising and selling things from the White House? There is rules against these things. A president isn't supposed to have businesses, but this man is grifting. He even has a thing out there to where you're invited to Mar-a-Lago. Yes, you are. If you just donate any amount, just donate, and you'll be entered into the drawing to go win a trip to Mar-a-Lago. But you must send in some money first. This man is the biggest grifter and con artist out there. You now have Canada with. I seriously wonder how many allies we're going to have. How is he telling another country that forget about joining NATO? I just jumped from Canada to Ukraine. Yes, I did. Because Canada is one of the most self-sufficient countries. Canada does not need the United States at all. We need Canada. We get a lot of products from Canada, and this trade deal is now being messed with. The trade deal with Mexico is now being messed with, and now with Ukraine, and then NATO, Diaper Don saying that forget about Ukraine joining NATO, that's off the table. The UN just spoke and said it is the UN decides what countries can and cannot be in the UN, not Russia, not Donald Trump. And NATO says that it is NATO who decides what countries come in, not Russia and not Donald Trump. So we're going to see what happens with that. But wouldn't it be something if the UN and NATO decide to vote out the United States? Wouldn't that be an eye-opener? But I want to say this, and what I think the possibilities is going to be happening here with, because there are so many people that are now, the Google search is up 2,000% for U.S. citizens looking to leave the country, to move out to another country. I think they're going to begin to do laws that will go somewhere along the lines of, if you apply for citizenship during this administration in another country and you get approved, then you won't be able to have dual citizenship. I think maybe they'll do it, whether they do it blatantly and say that your United States citizenship will be revoked, you'll lose that status of a citizenship, or they'll do something along the lines of, if you leave and you're trying to come back, something will be flagged, or you won't be able to get back into the country. I think things are going to happen along that line, and it'll go along lines, they'll call it something like the Patriot Act. It's what as a patriot, you weren't being a patriot, you weren't standing within the United States, you wanted to leave, you didn't want to be a part of, so you're not going to be a part of. I think they're going to begin to do things like that in the background of this country, with the citizens that are making the decisions that they're doing, because people are scared, people are confused, and not everybody is fully paying attention. They're really going about their own business and like, oh, well, none of that affects me. It's just another administration. We'll be different come midterms and so forth. When I say people have not stood together like they did, especially during the civil rights time, this is an example. This is an example. Yeah. And then now let's add in when natural disasters come, because I still feel earthquakes. I still feel power outages. And not everywhere as far as power outages, but because I even heard, what country was it? I don't want to get the wrong name. But most, all but like 2 areas, 2 provinces had a power outage. It was in, it wasn't Peru. But it was some other country. Forgive me. I don't want to spread any disinformation. But it was something that I did hear. Of course, do your own research and so forth. We saw here in the United States, the whole entire state of Texas, power went out in the winter. And it was out for like a week. People died. And it was disastrous. Don't think it can't happen again. Don't think it can't happen again. There's a lot of confusion going on out there. The so-called Jeffrey Epstein files are being deleted from the FBI. The supposedly coming out by whistleblowers saying this. But now there's the agency to protect that whistleblower does not exist anymore. So good luck. These whistleblowers coming out. Anyway, that's just where we are right now. This is where we are right now. And it's not easy. We have chosen to be here at this time. Prepare. It's not fear. This is not promoting fear. This is promoting being prepared, being aware. Evidently, Diaper Don is going to twist Ukraine's arm as far as signing over a percentage of their mineral rights to the United States. Ukraine is saying as long as they have the guarantee of security, and Diaper Don is saying there is no guarantee of security here. So we'll see what happens, because I also feel like whatever, should that agreement go through, that Diaper Don's going to do something along the lines of have military presence around the areas that they're mining these minerals, these things that Diaper Don wants for this country, calling it a paying back for the monies that has been given to Ukraine. But let's back up in the first place as to why they have that agreement, why U.S. helped them in the first place. Do you remember back when the SSR broke up and Ronald Reagan was tear down that wall and all that kind of stuff, and USSR broke up, and there was an arms agreement when there was nuclear arms, that countries gave up their nuclear arms in order to have this agreement. And within that agreement, the U.S. had the agreement, you give up those weapons, you give up those nuclear arms, but if you fall into any type of help for your country, needing assistance, then we will help you. This was part of the agreement of giving up the nuclear arms. And now we want to take countries back. Now we don't want to uphold our agreement. Now we want to say, no, you owe that money back to us. Confusion. Where is honor? How can you trust if people say, yeah, and then turn around and do something else? Confusion, confusion, confusion. Anyway, I think that he's going to place, Dapper Don will, should this agreement go through, he'll place military presence there. And upon that military presence, it then will begin to grow. And it's not going to be in the favor of Ukraine. I could be wrong. Anytime I say anything, I could be wrong. But hey, we shall see, right? We shall see. We shall see what happens. Because this Diaper Don had the nerve to do an AI video calling it Trump Gaza. This is another attempt, rhetoric, whatever the case may be, just insulting, slap in the face for people who are in distress. Like, you really gonna take that over and you're gonna put your nasty looking fat ass, you and Netanyahu laying on the beach? Ew, put some clothes on, go on a diet, drink some water. How you gonna do something like that to them people? But then again, that's where his heart is, and those that go along with it and don't see the shame in it, shame on you. This is where we are. This is what this orange balloon is doing. Now let's talk about all these government people being fired and all this funding being taken away. It is a coup. It is by individuals that are not of this country, from South African, all of these oligarchs, call them what they are, and they hold these contracts with these, got all these defense contracts and surveillance contracts and data contracts. Older energy would say it would be a group of people attacking the government building. And that's not what we're seeing here. We're not seeing a group of people. We're not seeing a mob go and attack the government and take away this person and take away that person. No, it's being done from the inside. We are watching the government get dismantled and people leaving the government and all these positions, and the government being dismantled from the inside. Watch when natural disasters happen and there's no money there. There's no people there. It's being dismantled from the inside. A government takeover from the inside. Placing the people in position that will follow his lead. He sat there at that table and said, yeah, they're going to do exactly what I tell them to do. And he said it with a straight face. Do I believe this man has dementia or there's anything going loose up there? No, not for one single solitary bit. Now, do I think his health is in bad condition? Absolutely. We can look at it at the naked eye and see that. But have you noticed the bruise on his arm? On his hand? That's from intravenous needles, not drug use. Who knows? But I'm sure IVs or whatever is going on with his health. But I don't think there's anything wrong with him mentally. Not one single solitary bit. He knows exactly what he's doing. He knows exactly what he's saying. And he knows exactly who he is empowering. And he knows exactly who he has put into position. Supreme Court is on his side. The Pentagon, the leader who has placed in charge of removed that one general and brought a retired 3-star general in and to replace him. We're firing people. People are losing their jobs. Why are you bringing somebody out of retirement? There is plenty of people that is currently working that could fulfill that position. Because you hire from within, not from without. He's placing people in positions that he wants there that is going to do exactly what it is that he says to do. And that would include if he ever decides to release the National Guard upon the people from protesting and so forth. Calling to keep order, martial law, anything. Not saying none of that has happened. Not saying any of that has been talked about. I'm just saying don't be naive. Don't think, oh, that could never happen. This is America. This is the time of cleanup. I am all for reform. I am all for cleanup. But this is going to come in a harsh way. This really is going to come in a harsh way. Just prepare yourself. Be aware and don't be naive. Don't be naive. I had a vision one time of somebody that was breaking into the back door, and this was a few years ago. That's another thing with seeing things. The timing isn't always. I can be a year or two off. I do it all the time. But I had a vision one time of somebody that was coming in through the back door. They were breaking in. And it wasn't out of maliciousness. It was simply because they were hungry and they just needed some food. I had another vision one time to where my garden, I went out and all the plants was up out of the garden because they didn't just take the fruit off of, like a bell pepper or tomato or whatever. They pulled the whole thing up out the ground because they were hungry. Not out of maliciousness, just simple out of hunger and desperation because they don't know what to do. They don't know where to go. The elderly, with all this Medicare that's being cut, prepare for your elderly people that are in nursing homes. I saw a video of somebody who said that their daughter was finally, who has severe autism, and they finally got a medication that worked for her. And with the previous administration, remember the Biden administration, how they put the cap on the cost of medications for people? Well, now, what was once a $35 cap for this person for the medication, they just went to go get that same medication refilled, and it was $1,800 for their daughter. Yes, they were Trump voters. It is what it is. I don't feel sorry for you, what you voted for, but I do feel sorry for your daughter. I do feel sorry for your child. But on a soul level, we have to remember, we all signed up to be here right now. We all have a role to play in being here right now. That is a soul contract, if I ever heard one. Remember when I spoke about it before? That there's balance in everything. Left, right, up, down, black, white. In everything. And without that person, without that daughter in her condition, that parent may not ever have been in a situation to where he may or may not have been an advocate for that type of condition. But coming in on a soul level, even if it was just to share that one particular message on social media of what he has gone through. I heard it, now I'm sharing it with you. There are soul contracts on all kinds of levels that we are here to fulfill. And I truly believe that is an example of one. We all have our role to play. Yes, I get on here sending love and light. I haven't done it today. I just came on to share. I do send you love. Okay, let's just do it right now. Send love to yourself first. Feel that love. Feel that happiness that you feel in your heart when your heart is overjoyed with love. Feel that. Send it back to yourself. I send love to myself first. And now I send love to you. I send love to every viewer that is viewing right now. No matter what point in time it is that you see this, I send you love. I send love to every soul upon this earth. I send you love. I send you calm. I send you peace. I send you awareness. I send you provision. The universe has your back in the most benevolent way. I also send to you remembrance of who you are. Remember on a soul level who you are and what it is that you came here to do. I send you love. I send you light in the most benevolent way. There, I did it. Staying positive, right? Gotta stay positive. Anyway, this is where we are today. Yes, this is where we are today. I say be prepared and don't let things catch you off guard. Do not. Stock up, prepare, store up, stock up on some water. Get yourself some water filters. Zero water. I like zero water filters. They have generic ones. It's basically just 5 filters in the filtration. Things go wrong and there's you need to filter your water to clean it. Be prepared. Be prepared. Those of you who live in earthquake areas, have your go bag. Have your go bag in your car. Here in Georgia, it was a situation to where, remember snowpocalypse? Because we not used to the snow and ice down here, and the weather turned quickly, and they didn't have time to brine the roads, because at that time we still shared equipment between Atlanta, Savannah, and Athens. We shared equipment because we don't get it in the wintry weather in abundance. So everybody got stuck on the road there for hours. My daughter was one of them. For hours, stuck on the road overnight. School buses got stuck on there with the children on there. A baby was born. People that just, had children, they were going from one place to another, got stuck, and then didn't even have the formula and the food for the baby. It was disastrous. It was horrible. However, if you had a to-go bag, if you would have had a preparation of, granola bars, empty can to be able to use the bathroom in, like maybe an empty coffee can, baby wipes, whatever, be prepared, put a candle in there. These are different times. These are not normal times. Now, if you lived in an earthquake zone, you already know these things. Blankets, the sand for if you live in where it may snow or get ice, kitty litter sand. You know, the kitty litter, the dry one, not the clumping kind, just the regular kitty litter sand that you can sprinkle it on outside of your tires to give it traction so that you can, if you get stuck. But backing up to the brine system, because of that situation, that negative situation, it caused the city to invest in a brining system. So now Atlanta has a brining system, okay, to where we can produce brine on a large scale so that we will never be in that situation again. It takes dark times sometimes in order for you to know what you should not be doing. You have your experiences. Everything is a lesson in life. Everything. You can learn from every experience in your life. Don't just dismiss it as, oh, them idiots or whatever the case may be. Learn from it. What can you learn from your situation that you are in? How can you prevent it from happening again? Or what may be happening that is going to propel you to shift gears, shift to a different direction, like, oh, I'll never do that again. Was that the lesson that it took for you never to do that again, whatever it may or may not have been? Within that, congratulate yourself from learning something new and using your intellect, your thinking, and using wisdom. Learning something new, taking from it what you needed to take from it, and then move on. Sometimes things happen in that way. That's just the way it is. Sometimes that's how we learn. We learn from hard experiences. I've had enough hard experiences to where you don't have to tell me twice. I've had enough hard experiences to where if you say that makes you sad, or if you say that this is the way it is for you, I believe you. I do not need to experience it to be in understanding and belief of what you just said. If that's the way you feel, that has been my experience as to, I don't want to walk in your shoes. It's enough walking in my own shoes. Because the universe will do that just for you, because we have to experience all. And so, and remember, if we're collective and we're connected, we are experiencing. You are the missing aspect of me. I am the missing aspect of you. Yet we are all one. What I don't do, you will. Or you may. Or what you don't do, I might. Because we are, no one's better, higher than the other. We're just different. We're the different aspects of each other because we all came from Source, a different part of Source. Source took a part of itself and created you, put that spirit into the physical body. Came from the same source, just a different part. Therefore, it makes us all unique, the different aspects of who we are. So within your fellow man and the differences that they do, remember, they're the missing aspect of you. And you can relate to one another in one form or another, help each other, learn from each other, and be that unit that we are. We agreed to forget when we came here with the challenge of remembering. And it's taken us all to help us to remember. It's taken us all to help us to grow, because you can't do anything all by yourself. Absolutely not. It does take a village. So I'm just like rambling. I did say we would read something from, let's read an exercise from the Children of the Law of One and the Lost Teachings of Atlantis. So in the back, because in the readings that I have done, I didn't read the second part of the book because it was just a bunch of exercises. And some of it is actually telling you how to make affirmation tape. So it like repeats the same stuff over and over and over again in the reading of it. And that's not necessary to do, my opinion. We have read the star exercise. Have I? I did it on a video. I did the planetary polarity attunement. I already did that one. Mirror exercise, chanting, breathing. Let's do breathing. How's that? Okay. If you have the book, it's on page 350. So breathing. The ancient teachings of Atlantis describe the breath as a bridge between the subconscious and conscious minds. Think about it for a moment. Breathing is both a subconscious process, i.e., your body keeps breathing automatically, whether you think about breathing or not, and a conscious process, i.e., you can take it out of automatic mode and consciously control it. Breathe fast, slow, deeply, shallow, hold your breath, etc. Your other organs are mostly under subconscious control. For instance, an average person can't consciously digest their food or control their heartbeat. But even these things can be consciously manipulated. Once you master consciously accessing the subconscious, breathing is one of the methods that can be used to bridge the entire conscious/subconscious gap and reintegrate your being. There are many different ways to approach this through the breath. You can control it, meditate on it, leave it alone and watch it, concentrate on it, and coordinate other mental or physical functions with it. The breath is also our link to the etheric. We are given life and given breath. The universal spirit breathes each breath into us. When we cease breathing, our body ceases to live. Breath links us to everyone else. Think of all the billions of molecules in each breath of air we breathe in and out. How many have been breathed by others. There is a chance that one of these molecules was breathed by Lincoln, Mary Magdalene, Jesus, Cleopatra, Alexander the Not So Great, Joan of Arc, Genghis Khan, Rachel, Benjamin Franklin, Abigail Adams, and etc. That's what it speaks about breathing. This is out of the Children of the Law of One and the Lost Teachings of Atlantis. You can listen to me read this book, or if you want to just jump over in the ones that are already there in the playlist. Granted, I am outside, so you are going to hear some airplanes. Reasons why I'm reading it in the evening to reach a new crowd, and so that those that are distracted by the noise do not have to be. But this is the type of information that you will receive upon listening to me read it. So I'd like to thank everyone for being with me. Oh my goodness, I did it again, didn't I? I didn't send out the invitation. I would like to invite you to hit that subscribe button. And once you do it, welcome. Come on in. Thank you for enjoying us. And while you're at it, hit that like button. Tell YouTube algorithm that more people need to hear this type of information. Whether it's a rant, whether it's spiritual, whether it is oracle cards, sending love and light, whatever. Thank you for joining. Thank you for being here. And let's say it together. I am love. I am light. I am all that I am. And so are you. So until next time.